Hello, hello. Today we have a special treat, and it's a treat because it's fresh off the presses from Robert Whiting's Japan, which you can always find at robertwhiting.substack.com. It's also very timely because we're going to be discussing two baseball superstars, Shohei Ohtani, who just signed with the LA Dodgers, and also the late, great Joe DiMaggio. Without any further ado, superstar comparison. Shohei Ohtani and Joe DiMaggio. Robert Whiting, December 12th, 2023. Tokyo. Countless sports commentators to date have compared Shohei Ohtani to Babe Ruth because both athletes pitched and hit at the same time. Shohei proving somewhat better in the department, giving his performance over the past 3 years, which included 2 unanimous vote MVPs. But perhaps there's another comparison that is even more fitting. Shohei and Joe DiMaggio both could be described as one-of-a-kind superstars, and both supremely enigmatic. Ohtani's 2022 season, in which he hit 46 homers and won 10 games as a pitcher, inspired a book, The Greatest Season Ever. He was unanimously selected as MVP at the end of the year. That too could be described as the greatest season ever. But you could hear similar praise about Joe DiMaggio. In 1941, DiMaggio hit in 56 consecutive games. It was considered by many to be the greatest feat in all of baseball history. Famed Harvard scholar Stephen Jay Gould called DiMaggio's achievement the most extraordinary thing that ever happened in sport. In fact, the data shows that there has never been a power contact hitter quite like DiMaggio in the history of the game. DiMaggio hit 361 home runs and struck out 369 times during the course of his career. A phenomenal statistic no one has come close to matching. In 7 different seasons, he hit at least 25 homers and had more homers than strikeouts. In 1941, the year in which he hit 56 consecutive games, he hit 30 homers and struck out 13 times. He never struck out 40 times in a season, not even the great Ted Williams, as sharp as an eye as he had, as accomplished a hitter as he was, ever managed those figures. When sports writer Tim Kirkjian compiled these numbers some years ago on the day DiMaggio died, which was March 8th, 1999, at the age of 84, and showed him to Yankees' Darryl Strawberry, Strawberry couldn't believe it. "No, that's impossible," Strawberry said. "No one could be that good." For comparison, Ohtani hit 44 homers last year and struck out 143 times. 2 years ago, he hit 46 homers and struck out 189 times. In fact, to give you an idea of just how rare such statistics are, in the past several years, nearly 36 players have had months where they struck out at least 40 times in a calendar month. DiMaggio finished his career with a .325 average, 3 MVPs, 2 second-place finishes, and 9 World Championship rings. He also had 13 All-Star appearances in 13 years. Ohtani has 2 MVPs, but no championship rings. None. But then he has just joined the Dodgers, and you can say he is just getting started. Moreover, unlike DiMaggio, Ohtani did have 2 unanimous MVPs, and of course, DiMaggio never pitched, while Ohtani is an elite MLB pitcher. Ohtani and DiMaggio share other similarities. On the field, Ohtani has been a model of grace, dignity, and deportment. A man who unfailingly tips his cap to the umpire before his first at-bat and picks up loose trash. DiMaggio, for his part, was regal, elegant, and graceful as a player. On the field, he glided almost effortlessly, never having to dive for a ball, and rarely, if ever, making a mistake on the base paths. Ohtani became an impeccable dresser, lauded by GQ for looking like an Italian fashion model at the 2023 All-Star Game in Seattle, while DiMaggio was also perfectly tailored, with not a hair out of place. Like Ohtani, whose list of product endorsements reads like a Fortune 500 list and whose face is everywhere, DiMaggio was a cultural icon. He was married to Marilyn Monroe, the most beautiful woman in America. The great novelist Ernest Hemingway wrote about him in The Old Man and the Sea. Simon and Garfunkel included him in the song Mrs. Robinson. He became the living embodiment of the American dream and symbol of the country's so-called greatest generation. He made millions as the face of Mr. Coffee, the electronic drip coffee maker, and a spokesman for Bowery Savings Bank in New York City, among others. In retirement, DiMaggio refused to play in any old-timers games because he didn't want anyone to remember him as a broken-down player. He wanted to be remembered for gliding through the outfield or hitting a vicious line drive. Appearing in suit and tie at such events, he demanded to be introduced as the greatest living ball player. DiMaggio was as guarded in his private life as Ohtani, who forbade leaks about his contract negotiations in free agency and kept the name of his dog a secret for a time. DiMaggio was a complex, secretive, inscrutable human being who felt that his actions on the field should do the talking for him. He once turned down a $2 million offer from a New York publisher to write a memoir. As time marched on, DiMaggio grew increasingly distrustful of the people around him. That was understandable when it was discovered he had a hidden life for 50 years. Richard Ben Kramer's great biography, The Hero's Life, came out in 2001, and people learned the sordid facts about DiMaggio. He was tight with the dollar. He was estranged from his brothers, and his only child, Joe DiMaggio Jr., was homeless and addicted to drugs, living in a dumpster in California, while his father was making $250,000 per weekend signing baseballs. The son eventually died from an overdose. He was a physically abusive husband and insanely jealous. He and Marilyn came to Japan on their honeymoon in February 1954. But he became so upset that Japanese fans and reporters were more interested in Marilyn than him, he shut her out of his media events. He treated Marilyn Monroe like dirt when they were married, said actress Debbie Reynolds, dripping with sarcasm. But he made up for it by putting flowers on her grave twice a week after she died of a drug overdose. It also came out that Joe hung out with gangsters who paid him exceedingly well to patronize their nightclubs. What will we eventually learn about Shohei Ohtani, MLB's reclusive warrior monk? Probably that he stays at home and watches reruns of baseball games every night. The end. I think I will use a photo of Joe DiMaggio, and the photo in the thumbnail will probably be a black and white photo of Joe DiMaggio entering Meiji Jingu Stadium, which is still being threatened with destruction. I'm pretty sure it's Meiji Jingu Stadium, and there's a Japanese feller kind of guiding him in, and I think that is Kapiharada. He was on MacArthur's staff, I think, initially, and then he became instrumental in reviving American participation in Japanese baseball. I think he helped arrange the first game since the end of World War II. It was between the San Francisco Seals and, I don't know, the counterparty, whether that was an all-Japan team or it was the Giants. I can't remember, but that's the photo in the thumbnail. I'll also put that in community. This is the photo that Bob has used on his Substack article today, and I'll put that in community as well. If you have any other requests, let me know. Even if you don't understand baseball, I think there's enough going on that you can kind of pick it up and still understand who Joe DiMaggio was, and certainly Marilyn Monroe. And maybe take a look at Shohei Ohtani. I am sure for $70 million, yeah, a lot of people are going to be talking about him and watching him. That's all. Have a great